Good afternoon and welcome to the campus of Academy of Notre Dame de Namur. It is the Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week featuring the Notre Dame Irish and the Villa Maria Academy Hurricanes. Matt Jolis in the broadcast booth along with Kathleen Simone, and we have done a number of these games over the course of the season, but this one has a little special touch to it today.
Absolutely. Both of these teams are ranked nationally. Notre Dame landing at number 5 and Villa Maria, Notre Dame landing at 7 and Villa Maria at 11, down from 9 last week. So two of the top teams in the country, outstanding players, outstanding coaches, and a tradition of excellence in both of their programs.
You talked about the coaches, both of these coaches having huge national pedigree in their credentials. And it's interesting when you see in college field hockey, we see a lot of times that happening, but it's now trickling down into high school field hockey and two former Olympians going head-to-head today.
Definitely. Adele Williams, the head coach at Notre Dame, has been here 19 years, was a national player in South Africa, has just really elevated this program. It's always been strong, always been a leader in the Interact, but has just risen even more so. New to the Villa Maria program is Katie Evans in her first year. She is an alum, so she knows the history of the school. She played under, I believe, Maureen Poley, who was really an icon in the Philly area for field hockey. Retired several years ago. Dan Polders took over the program, continued the strong program, and now with Katie at the helm, it's continuing its run of excellence.
We'll talk about the visiting Villa Maria Hurricanes coming into the league 12-1 overall, 11-0 in the league in their Catholic Academies League. And this is a team that is just powerful on offense, and they're led completely by one of the best players offensively in the state, probably in the country, in Hannah Miller.
Absolutely. Hannah is incredible. She is a pleasure to watch. She is a student of the game, extremely strong stick work, and a real field hockey IQ, knows what to do, knows where to put the ball. This team, as you mentioned, they are a offensive powerhouse. They lead all teams in the Philly area, averaging 7.77 goals per game. Really remarkable. Number one among 120 Philly area schools, 110 Philly area schools. And goals against, not too bad, less than a goal, 0.92 goals per game. So strong on both ends of the field. Notre Dame, on the other hand, their statistics are equally impressive. Not quite as high numbers. They're averaging 4.5 goals per game, and they've allowed just 1.14. The difference may be, though, you see those statistics, and they're not, neck and neck, but each of the teams has played teams in their leagues that have been kind of developing programs, rebuilding programs, but they have also risen and been very successful in the really tough competitions this season.
So this is a game where you talk about the elite nature of these programs, and you have to look at how elite these players are. They're combined between Notre Dame and Villa Maria. I believe I counted 14 players committed to Division I schools, some of them not just in field hockey, going in other sports as well, but it's a testament to the factor that both of these teams have of not just the players that they get that come to these schools, but then also the youth programs that a lot of these players come out of.
Absolutely. We talked about it at a couple of the games of the week, how strong a lot of the club programs are, and in the Philadelphia area, 3 of which are ranked in the top 10 in different age divisions. So a lot of these girls play together on the club team, so they know each other well. They know their opponents' strengths and weaknesses, and that will certainly come into play. And in catching up with Adele Williams before the game, one of the things she talked about when I asked her if this was a rivalry, she said, it is. We're not in the same league, but we're neighbors, and we have a lot of respect for each other's programs. And mentioned again that these players, they know each other. A lot of them play for WC Eagles, Excalibur, some other clubs. So it's always fun playing in high school when you're playing against players that you will come together with and fight for that national title on the indoor level just a couple of months down the road.
You mentioned that difference between the two, of course, Villa Maria, a PIAA school, trying to venture for yet another state championship. Notre Dame playing in that PAISA league. with all of the other Catholic academies and private schools that are part of that. So a little bit of a difference there. Notre Dame at 13-0-1, 5-0 in the league, having no slouch of a season again. We'll take a look at the starting lineups in this situation here. So we're going to go first with the Villa Maria Hurricanes, and they will go with number 10, Mary Harkins, number 4, Adele Ikabuchi, number 7, Hannah Miller, a player who we mentioned 33 goals on the season for the Hurricanes. 6, Megan Dillon. 34 will be Catherine Peretta. Number 9, Maggie Powers. 3, Adrian Iacovelli. Number 2, Margie Cardin. 22, Colby Dolbra. 5, Ryan Hickey. And number 4, Abby Zarkowski in between the pipes. For Notre Dame, they will line up with number 14, Jess Snyder. Number 16, Belle McHugh. 17, Brianna Odgers, who has been a stalwart player on defense for them all season long. Look for a lot of clean sweeps from the junior in the backfield. Number 18, Maggie Pina. Number 20, Riley Gillen. 22, Mia Leinhart, who has been another stalwart player in the midfield for them, and also just a junior, so she will be one player that to watch now who will be back next season. Number 23, Lindsay Barnes, along with number 30, Emily Graff, number 32, Vivi Trumbor, number 33, Lauren Curran, and number 88, Paige Keft, the sophomore goalkeeper who has been a phenomenal sensation. Split a little time last season during her freshman year, became the full-time starter this season, and looks for 3 strong seasons in net for the Irish.
The lineups are incredible. And one thing I just want to clarify, the Catholic academies are actually part of the PIAA, mostly AA programs. And, you know, a lot of people sometimes think, oh, PASA, the Pennsylvania Association of Independent School Athletic Associations, maybe not quite as strong as PIAA. Absolutely wrong. The teams in the PASA division of that compete for the state tournament are incredibly talented. You've got Episcopal Academy, Agnes Irwin. Some of the Friends schools are outstanding. And, of course, Notre Dame. So their state tournament will be held on the 14th of November, and the 17th of November you'll have the PIAA state tournament. Both of these teams are defending state champions. Notre Dame in the PASA and Villa Maria for a PIAA 2A class. So 2 state champions back heading, you know, it's going to be a game to remember. I have to say, when we were posting the polls every week, you know, I want all the teams to win the polls because I want to see them all play, but this was a game I really wanted to see. I was going to come to this game regardless because I love the athleticism. I love the dedication of the players on these programs, the smart coaching, and it's just going to be incredible.
It has been a phenomenal season so far in terms of games of the week through the Phila Field Hockey season, and live on the Sports Fan Base Network. We're going to bring you all the action today. Game time is set for a 4 o'clock start, which is in about 5 minutes from now. And you mentioned the voting, and especially interesting is how well we've seen small schools rise to the occasion to get this game in play. Both Villa and Notre Dame, 2 quote-unquote small schools, but obviously with big followings. But just talk, you know, briefly for those who are watching, what has been the course of action this year with Phila Field Hockey in this game of the week, how it's been put together.
This is week 7, and the votes, fans have the opportunity to vote online at philafieldhockey.com, on Twitter or Facebook at PhilaFH. And believe it or not, the game of the week this season alone has garnered over 20,000 votes. It's really remarkable. I mean, I have to say, even I'm floored. So the players, the fans, the parents, the coaches are all into it. They want their team showcased. And it is great to see some of the smaller programs as remarkable, you know, field hockey, but to get a student body of 60 girls versus a public school that might have 1,000, and yet those teams win, that speaks volumes in itself.
Yeah, and we've been all over the Philadelphia area, from Methacton to Upper Dublin to Conestoga to here to Notre Dame. We were in Council Rock. I'm trying to. There was a W school somewhere in there. I want to say
Wissahickon.
Thank you. So we've been all over the Philadelphia area throughout the course of this season, and as you mentioned, this is week number 7 on it. So we're coming down towards that end of the season. Few more games to go before we get to district playoffs, and of course, all of the games throughout the course of the season have been brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. So this week's live game, of course, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions, based right outside of Philadelphia. Payroll Service Solutions is a huge supporter of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you're a small to medium-sized business in need of a benefits company, not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. So contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY. High school field hockey, a little bit different than you see in college and at the international level. Just 2 30-minute halves of play. Other than that, all the rest of the rules are the same. So if you're following along, you are looking at all of the white lines on the field. Those are the lines that we're playing for field hockey. There are also yellow and red lines on the field. That is actually for lacrosse and soccer. So we will make sure that you know that and keep that in play as the captains and coaches meet at center field right now to do the handshakes and coin tosses.
I mean, how great is that you have the captains from each team hugging each other? I mean, that's a wonderful thing because we're all in this together, win or lose. We're playing for the love of the game. And that's what Philip Field Hockey really is about, too, celebrating all of our amazing programs and players, and not only our top programs, but we definitely showcase a lot of times through our Student Athlete of the Week some of those players that you might not see scoring all those goals but are integral to each team's success.
And if you haven't checked it out yet, go on philafieldhockey.com. Check out all the articles, pictures, postings that they have going on. They showcase all the rankings, players of the week, the all-star teams, and everything that's going around in Philadelphia field hockey, both at the high school and the collegiate level. And they are also very accessible on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just do at Phila Field Hockey, and you can find their pages. I think you're tweeting right now, aren't you?
I am. I'm taking some photos. I'm getting ready to tweet out some more photos. And it's funny, you mentioned the senior all-star game, and I'm actually just gearing up for that now. My email will be going out to the coaches, all of our area coaches, for selections. Each of the Phila Field Hockey senior all-stars, they are selected by the league. Each league's coaches come together and decide which players will be in that game. The game will be held this year, the day after the PIAA state tournament on the 18th of November at Bryn Mawr College, and we're thrilled to have the game there. One of the reasons, because field hockey started right there. Bryn Mawr College was one of the first colleges, if not the first college, that had field hockey brought over from England. So it's kind of nice to get back to our Philly roots.
It is a cold, blustery, and windy day. It is mid-October per se on the 17th day of the month, and the weather has certainly turned from summer to fall. Hopefully you have your heat turned on and you are bundled up, sitting somewhere nice and warm with your laptop or your phone watching this game on the Sports Fan Base Network. As both teams have exited the field from warm-ups, will take their final runs, and we will have the opening face-off just shortly. Villa Maria will be in the dark blue kits with kind of a middle blue. I always want to call it a Carolina blue, and I never know what to really call it. A middle blue trim with numbers. Notre Dame, of course, in the all-white with the gold trim and gold numbers.
Notre Dame sporting the pink socks. They're celebrating breast cancer awareness throughout the month of October, as most of the teams do in the Philadelphia area, raising funds, raising awareness. It's always just great to see the teams not only think about the sport, but think about others and how they can have a greater impact.
Had the privilege a couple weeks ago of doing the Drexel game when they did their Play for the Cure game, and all the players out there with pink socks, pink hairbands, pink grips on their sticks, and just doing everything that they can to help awareness to the cause and raising money for breast cancer research and hopefully finding a cure as we go through the month of October. It's something that for anyone who's had a member of the family go through that, it's clearly on all of our minds and everything that we're trying to do to make sure that we help out. On the start, Notre Dame will go left to right, Villa Maria right to left. Thankfully playing with a nice bright orange ball today. We won't talk about that fog game. That was a bit of fun.
An interesting point, it's always nice to hear about siblings. On Villa Maria's team, Hannah Miller's sister, Erica Miller, is the starting goalkeeper, four-year starting goalkeeper for the Villanova Wildcats in her senior year. And the center midfielder, Adele Iacobucci, her sister, plays for UConn.
Villa Maria with the start, and a quick pass back lands onto the stick of Adele Iacobucci, and she tries to get it across to Maggie Powers. Powers clips off of a Notre Dame stick before reaching her, so she gets the start. Powers back to Iacobucci now. Iacobucci sweeping down the sideline, trying to release Hannah Miller. Miller switches back into a more midfield position, so it's Adriana Iacovelli, but she is only able to usher it across the baseline. Starts out 16-yard hit for Notre Dame. Quick start for Notre Dame. Goes right back into the stick of Hannah Miller, and Miller has it offensively in a 1v1 battle and comes avail to it. So Miller now running down the sideline, twisting and turning that stick, trying to get anything, and all she can do is again usher out the back line. So Notre Dame's defense coming up strong, trying to push the sideline. That was Brianna Odgers there ushering her out of play. Start up top for Villa Maria. They sweep backfield position, and that's onto the stick of Mary Harkins. Harkins now goes to the outside, tries to get it to Peretta. Peretta can only find it out of the line, and so Notre Dame will have a start.
Mary Harkins at the center back position has been an incredible defensive presence for Villa Maria. She is one of the top players in the country, a U17 national player, along with two other players on Villa Maria's team, and will be heading to Duke, who's ranked number 3 right now, along with Hannah Miller.
Ryan Hickey had a stick on the ball. She tried to sweep inside, bounces off a couple of players, ticks out of bounds, and then is brought back in. Notre Dame has a self-start up top. Can't do anything with it as it goes right into the basket of Maggie Powers. Powers now fighting along the line, tries to get it across, cannot do so, so it will be an Irish ball. Going for a long sweep here, trying to create a break, unable to do so, comes back across, does actually land on the stick of Jess Schneider, and Schneider has a run down the line, trying to switch through, tipped off by Iacobucci. Iacobucci goes across, sweeping play, gets it onto the stick of Miller. Miller now down the sideline. Bounces through. She cannot get to one of her players as it gets tipped off. Coming defensively across, Riley Gillen in action there. And a lifted flick play. Trying to goes across, lands on the stick of Iacovelli.
I feel like both teams are yet to play their game. It seems as though they're a little bit nervous. Kind of a lot at stake, more of a reputation thing. It's not going to necessarily affect their standings because they're in two different state tournament. What's the word I'm looking for?
Two different state tournament brackets. Completely
right.
different leagues.
Now, last year when the teams met up, Villa Maria topped Notre Dame 4-2. So I think Notre Dame might, be ready to change that. This would also be Notre Dame's first loss if, in fact, the Hurricanes were able to top them. At the same time, Villa Maria has a lot at stake. I mean, they're playing a team that's also in the top 10 nationally, but ranked higher. So A lot at stake, as I said, mostly from, I guess, more of a pride standpoint and an overall record.
Pickoff play by Hickey, obstruction called on the Irish, so it goes the way of the Hurricanes. Sent back up. She tries to get it inside to Powers. That is picked off by Emily Grafe, and Grafe runs it up the line, connecting with Jess Schneider. Schneider started a little too quickly there, sending it back the way of the Canes onto the stick of Ikabuchi. Ikabuchi tries to drive inside, looking, shot, score right through the line of Paige Keft.
Wow, the goalkeeper made a sliding, what I thought looked like a save. I didn't until I heard the ball in the back of on the backboard there.
So 25:43 left to go in the first half.
Beautiful goal.
And Villa Maria on the board. A run right through the line.
That was Adele Akabuchi unassisted. Looks like she carried the ball from about the 25-yard line, did a couple dodges, went in, and maybe caught the defense off guard. I think perhaps they were thinking she was going to pass it off for a redirect.
And on the obstruction, the first corner of the game coming up here, and it's going to be Notre Dame with that, and Mia Lionheart will take her spot. 3 up top for the Irish. Lands it to Lauren Curran. Curran, wicked shot, bounces up over top of everyone, but it does tip off of a Villa Maria stick, so it's going to be an Irish ball about 30 out.
Curran, by the way, has scored 26 goals this season, posted 11 assists for 63 points. She ranks number 7 among Philly area players in points per game. But one thing that the stats don't tell is how critical she's been in super tight games, either scoring the game winner or scoring the team's only goal, or just being a critical producer at critical times. And, you know, it takes a seasoned player and a really outstanding player to really rise in those high-pressure situations, and she has definitely demonstrated the ability to do that.
Curran, a senior forward for the Irish, headed to Boston College next year. She'll play field hockey up there, one of a litany of college commits for the Irish, and actually on both of these teams, as we alluded to in the pregame show. Pass across field on the stick of Vivi Trumpor. Trumpor trying to go to the outside. It was the running Jess Schneider who was unable to get to the line in time, so a turnover goes back the way of the Canes. Slap shot pass coming across, tips up, gets onto the stick of Belle McHugh. McHugh impacted by 2 players, but the call actually goes the way of Villa Maria, and it's the start off from Hickey. Bounces it backfield, lands it on the stick of Harkins.
Nice
Harkins all the way across field, trying to connect. So it'll be Irish ball on the outside line. Self-started inbounds play. Coming across, Irish looking for any run that they can down the sideline. Nothing there. 3 blue jerseys in space. An obstruction easily called there. So the Irish will get a restart just at about midfield. Going through. Run down, 2 players available. Again, a third-party obstruction sends the Irish about 20 yards from their first position, and they'll restart one more time. Trying to curl through the blue swarm of jerseys, about 5 Hurricanes jerseys to the side, just trying to impact any Irish player that they can, and Lauren Curran will try to get it started once again. Gets onto the stick of Emily Grafe. Grafe loses possession of the ball. It's turned over back the way of the Hurricanes, and a run down the line here from Adele Ikabuchi. She will get whistled and have to come back a little bit. Infraction called, the obstruction play at midfield. Restart there again from Maggie Powers. Powers tries to go down the sideline. They get a positive pass play reduced to a turnover, and then obstruction called. Errant pass inside the circle. A stick check on the defensive possession turns it back to the Irish. Switch field play now. coming up. They have Schneider available on the line, cannot get it to her, and a timeout called by Villa Maria. So with 21:31 left to go in the first half, just the one goal on the board has Villa leading Notre Dame 1-0. That unassisted play from Adele Ikabuchi. Paige Keft came out, cut off the angle, slid right down. It looked as though it went into her pad. Somehow it found just a sliver of space to sneak underneath and have the Hurricanes leading 1-0. What have you seen so far between these two teams?
Pretty evenly matched, I think, so far. I mean, right now we only have one corner on the board, and that was Notre Dame. I feel like Notre Dame's had a little bit of an edge in possession time inside their offensive 25. But teams, as we expected, are evenly matched. I'm anxious to see what changes, if any, are made at this point. As I said, I think in the beginning that both teams were a little starstruck, kind of looking at each other, probably not coming out with the gusto that they're accustomed to. So perhaps this timeout will jumpstart that. I think that Notre Dame is doing a great job carrying, or I'm sorry, Villa Maria is doing a great job carrying the ball up their right side, passing the ball across, looking for opportunities, and I think Notre Dame might try to move the ball a little bit more down their right, their strong side. Both teams really strong defensive players as well as offensive players, so it's going to be hard to penetrate. I do think that goal, which was really beautiful by Adele, I think it caught the teams off guard, and I really feel like they thought she was going to dish that off instead of putting that on goal. So just well executed by Adele and rising to the occasion and netting that first goal.
That is intelligence of players, and we talk about how much field hockey players at this level, especially these teams, how much they play throughout the course of the season. And you see that come into play when a player just has field of vision and capability to see what they want. And the aforementioned Adele Ikabuchi in passive play here. This is Notre Dame trying to get start of the ball. They have it, Vivi Trumpor going down the line. She has connection with Curran. Curran has switched field sides, goes back through. It tips off of the foot of Trumpor, so that will end the Irish offensive run, and they head back on defense now. Started out, here's Harkins. Harkins trying to go to the sideline. Connects through, they switch back to the middle on Ikabuchi. Ikabuchi switching back, gets it on the stick of Miller. Miller dispossessed, and the foot fault is called.
It was some beautiful passing combinations, again, working the ball up the right side with excellent stick-to-stick passing and sharp passes.
Restarted by Maggie Powers as Annie Shaw, the freshman forward, waits for her position and time to be able to get into the game. A heralded freshman player for the Hurricanes. Notre Dame here with ball and run of play, and a chance here if they can get to the outside. They can release Trumpor. Trumpor gets it and has line of run. Curran is inside, midfield play, trying to get to the circle. Trumpor, reverse position hit, tips off of the stick of a Hurricanes player, so it will be a restart, likely to be taken by Curran.
Belle McHugh for Notre Dame's defense, coming up with some really nice transition passes to the midfield. I'm sure they're looking for Curran right now. Certainly Notre Dame has a lot of depth on attack, but she can be their go-to girl.
As the aforementioned switch takes place, Megan Dillon coming off the field, replaced by Annie Shaw. Notre Dame nothing doing with that play as they had chance inside the circle, not even able to get a shot off, as Abby Zarkowski is waiting to get something on frame for her today. Here's Villa Maria, run of play down the outside line, lands onto the stick of Shaw. Shaw in a 1v1 battle, and she wins that one. Restarted quickly by Miller. Hannah Miller looking for the circle, reverse position, gets it into the body of a Notre Dame player, pops back down, and a corner called.
First corner for Villa. One thing I just noticed, especially on that last sequence of passes, was just kind of reminiscent of last year, how when I saw Villa play, I thought how attuned they are with each other, passing the ball to their teammates before they're there, just like a great team does. Everyone knows where to be, and they can put the ball there before they're there and just execute passing connections well.
Goes up top, lands on the stick of Harkins. Harkins tipped it over to Powers, back to Harkins. She tried to draw it down the side, and it lands into a defensive stop position for Notre Dame, but they sacrifice a second corner, so Villa resets. This is Miller going up top, shot up in position, tips off of Adele Ikabuchi, and then lands off of two other players' bodies and into the cage, and a 2-0 Hurricanes lead with 17:47 left to go, and a timeout this time called by Notre Dame.
I believe that was freshman Ryan Hickey with the goal, assisted by Adele Akabuchi on the insert. I'm sorry, on the direct hit off that corner, and a second assist by Miller on the insert. It was beautifully executed. 2-0 lead. That's pretty. I mean, there's, my goodness, plenty of time, but that's a nice, healthy lead with, what do we have here?
17:47 left to go in the first half. Given how much run of play and pace there is, as I look at that clock and see the 17:47 left to go, I'm actually almost surprised that there's still that much time left on the clock, but it just shows a testament to these two teams. If you're Notre Dame, you're by no means in field hockey terms out of this game, but you've now had two goals bouncing around in the mixer that have gotten past Paige Keft and your defense. They called the timeout this time around. What are they saying in that huddle that's going to kind of bring this team back into play?
Could be quite a few different things. My guess is they're going to try to beat them and step up to the ball before Villa enters the 25. So keep them out of the 25 and perhaps push their defense up a little higher. I mean, I'm not sure if it's that or marking super tight, shoulder to shoulder with your opponent inside the circle, but I'm guessing they're going to try to beat them to the ball higher on the field.
We talked during the pregame about how well Villa spreads the field of play out, and we've seen it throughout the course of this game. Notre Dame has tried to spread the field just as much, but has not been to the avail, and Curran's going to take the ball at the spot here. Restart by Lauren Curran, sends it on the outside to Vivi Trumpor, and then she sends it across the line to Emily Grafe. Grafe immediately in a 1v1 battle and a turnover, and it is Iacovelli who takes run of play here. Turnover in the defensive zone. Grafe sends it, but out of bounds. Hurricanes will have the ball with a start on the outside line coming from Maggie Powers.
That ball has been over on the right side anytime Villa possesses it inside their offensive 25. So they really are working up the ball on their opponent's non-stick side, and it's worked well. We talked about Adela Kabuchi. Now she has 3 points on the game, scoring the first goal and assisting on the second. She's headed to UVA, which I believe is a top 5 school right now. I'm not completely attuned with the rankings, pretty sure. Excellent program. It's always nice to see these Villa girls, the Notre Dame girls. A lot of players from the Interact, a lot of players from the Catholic.
Out of bounds. Vivi Trumpor trying to get in line there. She is unable to do so. 16-yard hit coming for the Hurricanes. They switch the field of play on that. Gets it onto the stick of Catherine Peretta, and Peretta tries to get anything she can. Restart again for Notre Dame on the sideline. They go with a long sweep hit, lands into the body of a Villa player, comes out, and is restarted again. A back-forth midfield possession play here with 15 left to go in the first half. Notre Dame trying to break this Villa defense and see if they can get on the board. Curran with a run here. She's obstructed. Restart coming up from Lionheart. Lionheart goes to the outside line. Notre Dame now trying to gain the circle. This is Greff. Greff trying to get through. Gets impacted by 2 Hurricanes players. Tries again. And it goes out of bounds. They're going to call it off of Villa. So it will be a Notre Dame restart.
As soon as Notre Dame's Curran gets the ball inside the 25, they're collapsing 2 and 3 players on her. So it's definitely tough for them to feed the ball. Now she's closely marked by Harkins, as you can see. So it's going to be tough for Notre Dame to get the ball to her. Certainly, Villa's doing a great job marking up one-on-one with the other opponents, but when Curran gets it, there's more than one defender right on her back.
Leonhardt went for a sweep, and an intentional foul committed inside of the circle on that sweep sends Notre Dame for the corner, their second of the game. Leonhardt up top, sweeping shot goes right in on the pads of Abby Zarkowski, pops out of play, and so a corner called, second, now third of the half for Notre Dame. And Leonhardt will switch to the opposite side.
I feel like this is critical right now. Not super critical, but for a change of momentum and just
Maggie.
making you feel like you're going to be doing well the rest of this half. They need to get something on goal.
Maggie Pina tried to get a run around side. Jess Schneider now with the ball. Pops back out, lands on the stick of Abby Danjol. She cannot get anything. Villa Maria has a ball. It turns back over. Emily Grafe intercepting that, and then it is Hannah Miller punching it out of play, running down the field. This is Ikabuchi. Ikabuchi, long sweeping play, trying to get on the stick of Shaw. She cannot, but Annie Shaw does win the 1v1 battle. Ball out of bounds. Notre Dame guilty party there, sends it back to the Hurricanes.
Odgers did a good job for Notre Dame stopping that from getting any worse. She did end up putting the ball over the sideline, but definitely stopped Villa's run on that.
Notre Dame has seemingly changed their defensive scheme a little bit here, not allowing Villa anywhere within inside the 25. They're trying to keep them as far out as they can. It is working to their avail here, as this is Lionheart who has picked off a play and has it to Schneider. Schneider turning in a 1v1 battle, going and beating across Ryan Hickey, and Schneider now has a run. Pass in play, tries to go to Abby Dangel, cannot get to her. It comes back out, and Belle McHugh in a 1v1 battle, but Hickey has it. Goes back through. That is picked off in play by Brianna Odgers. Odgers, we talked about her in the pregame show, how amazing her defense has been for the Irish all season long. Just a junior, so she comes back next season, but already committed to the Temple Owls. Schneider here now in a 1v1 battle with Miller, and Schneider's going to win that one as Miller guilty of a stick check there. Comes across, and now Schneider with a run trying to get through to her teammate Trumpor. Vivi Trumpor here. She's in a 1v1 battle against Hickey. Trumpor gets possession of play. And that will start with just Schneider. Schneider takes the self-start. Goes through, tips up into the body of Megan Dillon. And now Schneider again, and she gets it to Lionheart. Lionheart is free, open in space, now blocked off by 2, now 3 blue jerseys. It is right on the line. Lionheart sweeps again, and it pops out of play. Coming back, Schneider will have to get defensive position. Picked up and drawn through the area by Megan Dillon. Dillon is picked off. Sending it the other way is McHugh. Tips out of play and runs to the sideline, and so Ryan Hickey will have a start.
These last few plays, you've really seen a great demonstration of high school players that know how to use their space, especially when they possess the ball. It's not just a forward motion. They're moving to the sides. They're using their back space. It's a nice, very advanced level of play for a lot of these players.
10 minutes left to go
breakaway.
here in the first half. Notre Dame with a run through and a score. A pickoff play from Emily Greff runs straight through the Villa Maria defense, and Notre Dame has their first goal on the board. 2-1 now with 9:58 left to play.
That was beautiful. Great pickoff, and in getting the ball to Curran, the defense did not have a chance to double up on her, so it was a 1v1. She dodged a couple people and put it right past the goalkeeper. And that fast ball, that not waiting for the opponents to set up, not giving them a chance to set up their defense, I think is what Notre Dame's going to have to do.
The finish on that play coming from Lauren Curran, the forward senior player, one of the captains on this team for the Irish. Emily Greff with the interception play, creating the assist. And it has Notre Dame just now trailing by 1. Villa trying to get back on the play, but again, here goes Curran.
Oh, 2v2.
Offensive
2v1.
possession with Trumbor. Trumbor in the run here, going to the circle. She gets around the defender, Trumbor, to Curran. Curran has a shot, and it's a tie ball game.
Wow, what a game changer. That was just incredible. Again, the second time, Notre Dame, I think they came up with a turnover.
It was Vivi Trumbor with the pickoff play there this time around. Emily Greff the first time. Trumbor takes a 1v1 run down the outside. Time out Villa Maria. Trumbor takes a run down the outside line, gets possession inside of the circle. She has a shot. It goes off of Zarkowski, pops back out, and a finish by Lauren Curran puts in her second of the game. And now with 9:02 left to go in the first half, we are all of a sudden all knotted at 2.
This is exciting. This is just raising the bar for both teams. Now, adjustments certainly have to be made. Villa Maria is not going to be able to allow Notre Dame to have those 2 fast breaks that run away. They're going to have to step up the ball, making it impossible for that pickoff, and then feeding that ball to Lauren Curran, who, if she's not marked with 2 defenders, it's going to be tough for her, for anyone to break her one-on-one.
So Villa Maria talking it over as the coach called a timeout. Notre Dame talking it over as well, but they have to be fired up, having been down 2-0, to all of a sudden now be back to 2-all, an even game with 9 minutes left to go in the first half. And we talked about in the pregame Lauren Curran and how much she has meant to this team from that forward position. She has shown it today with 2 spectacular finishes past goalie Abby Zarkowski for Villa Maria. But on the opposite side, it's been very interesting how much we talked about Hannah Miller and how powerful she has been, and yet she's been kept quiet today by this Notre Dame defense. It's been Ryan Hickey and Adele Ikabuchi who have put in the 2 goals for the Hurricanes.
But not really kept quiet, maybe kept quiet in terms of goal scoring, but she's definitely key in, even though she's considered a forward, she plays a little bit more of a defensive forward position, and she's been really critical. This is Miller I'm referring to, in that transition from the backfield to the midfield and then carrying the ball, setting up some of her players.
This live video stream of the Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week is brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Based right outside of Philadelphia, Payroll Service Solutions is a huge supporter of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you are a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll and benefits company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY. Villa Maria with the ball and run of play here coming off of the stick. And a restart on the outside line here. This is, again, coming off of Maggie Powers. Powers tries to get inside. She has it to Miller. Hannah Miller trying to rifle any way in which she can. She's unable to control, and Peretta now has the ball at the top of the zone, goes deep in play, and a sweep shot from Iacovelli goes nowhere. Notre Dame will have restart. And now Notre Dame again with a run of play. Here goes Curran down the sideline one more time, trying to look for any position inside. 2 players, obstruction called Curran's favor.
Curran knows how to draw the foul. If she's not going to get a shot, not going to get a pass, she's going to get a foul. She knows how to put it on the teammate's feet, how to force a third party in some cases.
Goes to the outside line, lines on Riley Gillen. Now back to Emily Graff. Graff trying to get anything inside the circle. She cannot do so. It's popped outside. Villa Maria just sweeps it down the line, and it actually goes out of play. Tips off the body of a Notre Dame player, so it sends out, and Villa Maria will have the start. This is Maggie Powers. Powers' flick play goes right into a Notre Dame player and onto the stick of Curran. Notre Dame trying to switch cross field now. If they can get it to Schneider, they have her released on the line. Villa Maria showing the speed of play as quickly coming right across the field was Margie Carden. But it's Schneider running down the line. Schneider has advantage play. She is obstructed and will have to come back and restart about 25 out. Sweeping shot to the midfield. Play right in the line to Curran. Curran trying to turn any which way she can, body to body against 2 Villa players, somehow still keeping control of the ball was Mia Lionheart at the top of the circle. It pops out of play, and Notre Dame will have a restart one more time. How about Mia Lionheart there, just going 1v1 with about 5 different Villa players and still controlling the ball.
She really is impressive, and her baseline work, working the end line, working the sideline with tight defensive marking, it doesn't seem to faze her. She plays with great poise.
McHugh, one of the captains, a senior for this Irish team here, working with the ball down the sideline, gets it across to Trumpor. Trumpor tries to go inside of the circle that is picked off by a Hurricanes player, sent back out and lands on the stick of Shaw. Shaw is immediately met body to body by Maggie Pina, and Pina actually gains control of the ball and will have the restart. Pina sweep shot into the circle, tips through 2 sticks, bouncing off of Lionheart being one of them, and then heads into the lacrosse cage behind the net, not the goal they're trying to score on, so it's a Villa ball.
Not a bad hit, though. She was firing the ball in the direction of Curran and
Lionheart,
and just missed both their sticks. Defense was packed in there, and a good try.
Just 4 and change left to go here in the first half. All knotted at 2 between the Hurricanes and the Irish on the Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week live on the Sports Fan Base Network. Bouncing ball across midfield, picked up by Margie Carden. Carden has run of play here. As she starts, gets it through the wickets of a couple of Notre Dame players, connects with Ryan Hickey. Hickey loses possession of that play, going back the way of the Irish. Here goes McHugh. McHugh with the flick, trying to get it through to Trumpor. She can't get it. Schneider in a 1v1 battle with Hannah Miller, and it's McHugh who comes up again in a big play and this time gets it to Trumpor. Trumpor, third-party obstruction right there, gets it onto the stick of Curran. Now Curran has run a play down the line, and she is checked right across by Colby Dobra. Restart again, and a corner called. Notre Dame had a ball that got right into the center of the circle. It landed onto the stick of Abby Danjol, and then she was impacted right away by Peretta. So a corner called, and it will be Notre Dame with their 4th corner of the half, and Schneider this time going out to the line. A split field for Notre Dame. Shot right through the circle, evades everyone coming off of the stick of Mia Lionheart. D'Angel checks out, checking back in is Riley Gillen.
Both teams utilizing a few subs, keeping fresh legs on the field. Neither team looks tired.
I think both teams know how much power is put into this game, just making sure that they have the more power available when it comes to the end of the game and to the end of the half with 2:15 left to go here in this first half, still knotted at 2. Defensive 1v1 battles all across there as Dylan trying to bother the Irish offense. She is unable to do so, comes back. Hannah Miller has it on her stick now. Errant pass comes in the way and goes through to an Irish player. They send it back down the line, but that gets turned back around.
Notre Dame definitely doing a better job of meeting the ball higher on the field, stepping up on those 50-50 balls, not letting Villa Maria enter their 25 as often. Now, as I say that, the ball is at the 25 moving in.
If you're hearing all of the wind blowing around through the microphones, both on our camera feed and on our headsets, we apologize for that. That is how windy it actually is outside. And we are located just about 15 feet above the field surface here at Notre Dame, which does not have a full stadium. So they are on a field hockey hybrid pitch, which creates for a very interesting broadcast position for us sometimes, and braving the elements that the players and coaches are braving with today. This is McHugh trying to go through the Hurricanes defense right now to release Schneider. She is unable to do so. Schneider poke check across the stick. Villa Maria's chance to go across field does not work. Instead, it's Riley Gillen with the run down the line. Gillen evading one player before she is finally tipped out of bounds by Peretta, and a restart for the Irish. Just 30 seconds left to play here in this first half, still knotted at 2 between two amazing teams, both that are nationally ranked and feature a number of elite level players. This is high school field hockey at its finest for the Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week, week number 7 on the Sports Fan Base Network. Midfield possession play here, both now kind of bouncing back and forth between Villa and Notre Dame as they figure this last one out as 5 seconds tick down to the end. The horn will sound. That will end the first half of play, all knotted at 2. So I think that was probably the first half we expected out of these games.
It was super exciting. For Villa Maria to be up 2-0, Notre Dame to fight back on 2 breakaways before the defense set to tie it up at 2-all. And I think not only did the score, did Notre Dame equalize the score, but I think they started to gain a little bit more momentum and definitely the confidence that was not quite there early in the game when they were down 2-0.
As you just mentioned, that down 2-0, so it was sort of a tale of 2 halves with inside of 1 half. Adele Ikabuchi gets Villa Maria on the board, seconded by Ryan Hickey, and then it becomes the Lauren Curran show on the opposite side. A pickoff play from Emily Greff sends her all the way down field, and then Curran takes it the remaining 16 yards into the net. And then again, it is seconded by Vivi Trumpor, doing virtually the same play, this time on the outside line, sweeps it into the circle. Curran takes it the rest of the way. 2 goals on the board for Curran and 2 on the board for Notre Dame. And we go to the half all knotted at 2. We'll take a short break and be right back. You're watching the Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week on the Sports Fan Base Network. Welcome back to the Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week, presented by Payroll Service Solutions. Matt Jolis in the broadcast booth with Kathleen Simone. This live video stream of Phila Field Hockey Game of the Week brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions, based right outside of Philadelphia. Payroll Service Solutions is a huge supporter of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you're a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll and benefits company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY. 30 minutes on the clock, all knotted at 2 between the Notre Dame Irish and the Villa Maria Hurricanes. Notre Dame in the white with yellow trim and yellow numbers. Villa in the all blue with blue numbers, heading left to right. Notre Dame right to left, and Villa Maria trying to go run of play here to start the second half, and Notre Dame's defense ample to the task immediately with a turnover and sending it back down. This is Riley Gillen trying to get a release of Vivi Trumbore. Trumbore has a run of play down the line. She is tipped out of bounds but gains possession. Notre Dame still has hold of the ball. Tipped through and sent into play that is turned over onto the stick of Adele Ikabuchi. Switch play here back to Ikabuchi. Ikabuchi, third-party obstruction called, sends it to Villa Maria. She sweeps through an impacted interception from Emily Greff. Greff over to Gillen. Gillen now trying to run down the line here. She was trying to release Lauren Curran, the double goal scorer for the Irish, but unable to do so. Hurricanes ball.
This has been an outstanding game from a fan perspective. Maybe if you're not a Villa Maria fan because you were up 2-0, but certainly for Notre Dame and just anyone enjoying good hockey, you're seeing some great high school players and coaching and strategy.
Villa Maria trying to switch field there. Margie Cargan trying to make a run of play. She is unable to do so. Can't get to the sideline. So Notre Dame will have possession one more time. We talked about during the break how Notre Dame, it seems, has been kind of running the possession throughout the course of this game, and it looks so far in just the first minute of this second half that they're doing the same thing.
I think they have a slight edge on possession time and definitely an edge in momentum after their second goal in particular. And interestingly, I got it. Here comes Curran.
Lauren Curran has just done a hat trick on the self-start from about 30 out after the obstruction call. Curran just takes it herself all the way through, and it is 3-2 Irish just like that.
That was unbelievable. I'm not even sure if that was off the self-start because I didn't see her carry the ball 5 yards before she went to goal. So I'm not sure. Was that a self-start or was that wow? Because did she carry the ball 5 yards? Okay. Wow, that's incredible.
Self-start, carry, and just a run. And now there's a discussion about it going on. Villa Maria over talking with one of the referees.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened with the Villa Maria defense right there.
And to the sidelines to the right of us, Katie Evans, their head coach, a little distraught as well, too.
Notre Dame has definitely done an outstanding job defensively. When you think that Villa Maria has scored 7.77 goals per game on average, and they've held them to 2. Now, a lot can happen in 30 minutes, but that's, if they double it up and get to 4 goals, they're well below their their average.
Maggie Powers trying to go down the line here for Iacovelli. Unable to connect. Powers again tries to go inside. She cannot get a play, and 5 yards called. Fault there on Powers. Notre Dame is going to have a restart. A little too quick, so Notre Dame trying to pick up the pace of play here, and Lindsey Barnes faulted for being a little too quick to start there. They will keep hold of the play. It'll come back and lands onto the stick of Brianna Odgers. Odgers switch field across. Gets through onto Jess Schneider. Schneider trying to make run of play on that outside line. Schneider, that midfield wing player for the Irish, whose name we have called many a time today, seemingly the catalyst of the offensive play. Comes back across, tips off of the stick of Barnes, out of play, so it will be a restart for Villa Maria, and Iacovelli will pass it off to Powers. 26 and change left to go in the second half. Notre Dame leading 3-2. Reverse position shot coming across there from the stick of Iacovelli, and it gets up, and it's Brianna Odgers now here with a run. Comes right across. It is up front, and Curran has it. She taps back, trying to find a teammate. She had two of them available, and it's onto the stick of Vivi Trumbor. Trumbor to the circle. She's trying to game play. Comes back to Schneider. Schneider is tripped, and a penalty called as Schneider was inside the circle.
All the momentum has definitely shifted in Notre Dame's direction. Great ball speed from the Irish. Was it Schneider running up the sideline, executing just really nice poise with the ball, great stick speed, or ball speed, and dishing it off to Curran, who a couple things happened. I have to set up this corner for them.
So it'll be Lindsey Barnes, the senior defender, headed to Fairfield next year for lacrosse. With the restart there, it is bouncing up, tips onto the stick of Schneider. Schneider trying to get it back through play, and a second corner called. So two quick corners, the first two of the half for the Irish. 6 overall on the game now. Mixing things up a little bit different. This is Mia Lionheart this time. Lionheart goes up top, gets it on the stick of Curran. Curran tries to go to the outside sweep shot. She cannot get it. Gets onto the stick of Schneider. Schneider goes back through, still bouncing around. Trumbor with a chance here. Tips back out, and Schneider in a 1v1 run can't get to it. Villa has the ball and a chance to break free. It trickles down the sideline, still in bounds of play, and in a 1v1 battle is won finally by Margie Carden. Quick start again has Villa going. This is Miller. Miller trying to go through the Irish defense, carrying by herself.
Not sure why they
Foul
stopped that
called. And an obstruction called way back at the top of the onto the stick of Ikabuchi. Ikabuchi trying to run through. She's into the circle, trying to get anything. It goes outside of the circle, tips off of the leg of Lindsey Barnes. And run of play there sends it out of bounds off of the stick of Dylan, so it will be Irish ball. 16-yard hit start. That comes with Odgers. Odgers goes switch field across the mouth and then sends it up line of play, trying to release Schneider again to the outside line. There goes Curran to the line, trying to find play. Notre Dame will have start one more time. Flick play, trying to get it to midfield, cannot do so. Villa Maria has play here. They try to run down the sideline. Going through across the middle, ball trying to get onto the stick of Dylan, gets tipped off to Miller now. And Notre Dame's defense just standing 5 tall in the field of play. And Miller is obstructed, so a corner called, second corner of the half, just 4th overall for the Hurricanes.
She's not wasting any time. She's running her hands, saying, "Let's get this rolling. Let's get this rolling." Miller, clock is ticking down. They have 2 goals left to make it even.
Sweep shot play, bounces across, tips off of the leg of a defensive player. That's Maggie Pina, the senior captain. And so a second corner for Villa Maria, 3rd of the half. 9:49 left to go. Miller again up top, getting it onto the stick of Ikabuchi. Ikabuchi tries to sweep through. This time it is a foul called on Dylan, and so Notre Dame has run of play. They've got a release, and it's Curran one more time. Curran sweeps through. Look who's right in the center. It had it on the stick of Sophia Amos, and Amos was unable to turn it.
That was a beautiful pass, and on the other side, a great defense by number 34 for Villa Maria.
Sophia Amos, a junior defender, just switched field and got right into run of play for Notre Dame, and she was right there as Curran's pass came across. And now here goes Notre Dame again. Reverse position shot from Curran, unable to connect to any Notre Dame player or into the back of the cage. So Villa Maria will have a 16-yard hit as it goes out of the baseline.
Notre Dame definitely creating more opportunities, getting shots, maybe not on goal, but toward goal. Taking advantage of the opportunity when they have the ball. Wow.
Shot again across. It's Sophia Amos one more time, trying to make that defensive connection from Curran. Notre Dame unable to put a fifth on the board with 8 and change left to go, and Villa has to start getting a little concerned.
Another nice setup by Mia Leinhardt, just a little bit off center there on goal, and the tip missed.
Harkins restart to Dobra. That is intercepted by Schneider. Schneider runs down the play. Curran is right in the middle. It's on the stick of Lauren Curran again, though this time she is called for the infraction. And it sends out the way of the Hurricanes one more time. Midfield play. This is Miller going 1v1 with Schneider. Miller passing it across, getting it right through, lands onto the stick of Carden. Carden tries to go 1v1. She is unable to do so.
The backfield for Notre Dame has been super strong. These girls not only are stopping the ball, but their clears up to their midfield and forwards have been very strong.
Miller goes right through to the top of the circle and goes body to body with a couple of Notre Dame players and actually takes a stick to the face. A little shaken up on the play, but she pops right back up. So a start right at the top edge of the circle from Villa. Shot coming from outside the circle, tips back in bounds. Kef has a save, and then it finally goes around into goal.
That was beautiful. That was outstanding. Goalkeeper down on her knees, and Villa Maria able to weave the ball past her and knock that ball in goal, making this a very competitive game. 3 goals for Villa, 4 for Notre Dame with about 6, almost 7 minutes left on the clock.
Margie Carden gets credited with the goal. Her first of the game. 6:54 left to play. Time out Notre Dame. It is now 4-3 after 4 unanswered goals by Notre Dame. Villa finally answers and brings the deficit to 1.
That was an exciting game and a smart timeout, obviously, for Notre Dame because Villa's got to be feeling really good. Energy's rising. They want to continue to keep that rolling. And Notre Dame, I'm sure, is going to do their best to regain momentum, which is so important in this game.
It's always interesting how many times you see a defensive mistake happen in the midfield. Again, there it was a situation Notre Dame had the ability to switch field, switch possession of play. Instead, they go right to the center, and it is kind of a body-to-body check against Hannah Miller, causes the restart. They're a little kind of like offset from that, and all of a sudden Miller punches it right in. A good first save by Paige Kef, but it pops right up into the stick of Carden, and Carden's able to put it into the cage. But again, it was a defensive mistake that then causes kind of the offset situation.
Absolutely, and we said Miller earlier that she is, we're used to seeing her name in the box score for scoring goals, but she has been really integral to Villa's transition game, setting things up, picking the ball at the defense. She's a forward, but she plays like a midi in that she's back there on the defense as much as the backs, and set that play, got that play in motion. Really nice touches for the other 2 players that made that ball get in the goal.
Miller, 33 goals on the season coming into the game today. She's going to actually just add to her total points tally by getting an assist on that one. A 3rd goal for Villa Maria has them trailing by 1 with 6.5 left to go. Here's Villa again with run of play. This is Schneider on the outside line for Notre Dame, though, picking off the play and taking a run. So Schneider here with the restart. Comes back to the outside line, tipped off by a Villa player and ticks out of bounds. goes to the outside. Villa, a flick start, goes right to the midfield, lands onto the stick of Ikabuchi. Ikabuchi trying to make a run. She's trying to release Miller, picked off right in midfield by Maggie Pina. Pina goes to the outside line. She connects stick to stick with Emily Greff. Greff taking a run. Riley Gillen is right behind her. Obstruction called. Greff actually guilty party on that.
That was a
And
key
then
play.
the restart is picked off by Gillen. So Notre Dame holds possession. Riley Gillen with a run, and Gillen just goes toe-to-toe back to Greff. Greff trying to gain the baseline now. Greff cannot get it. Comes across field, tips out, and a hit called. It goes off of a Villa stick, so Notre Dame will have the ball about 30 out. Lionheart goes on the outside. And then comes back to Vivi Trumbor. So Notre Dame will have play again. And a timeout on the field as it looks to be Mary Harkins shooken up a little bit. And the referee's asking for a reset on the clock to 2:40. That was time of when the whistle was blown, and we restart with 2:40. Lionheart here running down the sideline.
And every second's going to count in this game, especially, if Villa Maria needs every second they can to get this equalizer.
The more Notre Dame continues to possess the ball, the better it will help the Irish. The Hurricanes in trouble now, down a goal here with 2:20 left to play. And here does Villa Maria getting a turnover. Miller had a chance there. She is unable to control it. It tips back through and goes around, lands onto the stick of Belle McHugh. The Irish bench to our left imploring their team to make sure that they can do everything possible to put this victory in the books. It is again Barnes here with her stick to the ball. Gets it forward, landing on the stick of Greff. Emily Greff, 1v1 battle. And somehow Greff called for the obstruction there. Quick start by Villa. Lands it onto the stick of Ikabuchi. Ikabuchi tries to get run of play. Time out and a card called and a green card issued to Notre Dame's number 2, Mia Lionheart. And she's going to go to the box for 2 minutes. So with 1:33 left on the game clock, that means that she is essentially out, and Villa will have a man up for the remainder of this match.
And that is a really tough player to lose, even if you're up by 1. Mia Lionheart's been critical in the Irish play today.
Villa does not get their ball connected correctly, so it goes out of bounds. Notre Dame will have a chance to start the play and look to clear the zone. On the outside is Odgers clearing to the outside line. Trying to get Schneider. Schneider impacted. She has chance here. Long start through 2 defensive players. Gets connected onto the stick of a Notre Dame player, but turned back over. And here's Hannah Miller. Miller running through. Miller into the circle. Weaving through 4 different Irish players. It is just completely blocked.
40 seconds on the clock.
Trapped by Emily Greff and a corner called. Miller's going to have to work quickly here. 4th corner of the half for Villa Maria. 30 seconds left to go. 2 up top. Miller, she gets it. Stick play to Harkins. Harkins can't get it. Notre Dame has possession of play. 18 seconds left to go. Tipped and turned back over. Lands onto the stick of Iacovelli, and a green card issued to Iacovelli.
It's been a physical game all game long, all 60 minutes. And in the midfield in particular, there's been a little bit of pushing on both sides.
12 seconds left. Notre Dame will have start of play just at about midfield. It will go onto the stick of Emily Greff. Whistle sounds. Greff, flick, chance. That gets blocked down. Goes off to the stick of Carden. Carden tries to make a run here. She is blocked out of play. Greff and Barnes in a battle. Horn sounds. Notre Dame wins.
What a game. What an amazing game. And no surprise there. The Irish are storming the field. Really excited to beat this neighborhood rival. Two outstanding teams ranked in the top 10 in the Philly area. And boy, Notre Dame, they really fought back from a 2-0 deficit, held the Hurricanes to 0 after those first 2 goals to win it 4-2.
4 goals on the day for Notre Dame, 3 from Lauren Curran, 3 on the day for Villa Maria. Adele Akabuchi and Ryan Hickey had goals in the first half. Margie Carden tried to break back after Notre Dame had 4 unanswered goals, getting Villa Maria to 4-3, but Notre Dame holds on victoriously and finishes this match out. So the Irish, with the win, go to 14-0-1. For Villa Maria, who came into this game 12-1 overall, they will fall to 12-2 overall now. We're going to take a short break on the Sports Fanbase Network, and we'll be right back with the Payroll Services Solutions postgame show. Back on the Payroll Services Solutions postgame show with the victorious Notre Dame Irish today. And Lauren Curran, kind of a crazy game for you guys. You're down 2-0 to start, and then all of a sudden 4 unanswered goals.
Yeah, I was the first. They scored the first goal, and then they scored 2, and I was like, I just took the team together, and I was like, guys, we got this. We're still in this game. And then we just had 4 goals, and we just kept with our energy, and we really pushed through. I'm really proud of my teammates.
Jess Schneider seemed to have a lot of run-up play on the wing position. It let you get out of position and kind of run into the midfield of play, and it turned into 3 goals on the day for you.
Yeah, Jess is really good at pulling to the right and using her speed and going past everyone. So she played really well today, and she really used her speed.
Villa Maria tried to get a run back of play kind of towards the end of the second half, getting one more back on the board, but your defense really standing up tall, and Brianna Odgers had a huge defensive play for you guys today, right at the end of the game as well, too.
Yeah, I was a little nervous, but our defense stepped up, and our goalie stepped up, and we got our corners out, and I was really proud of them. We played as a team, and we really worked really well together.
We talked during the pregame about how big both of these programs are, Villa and Notre Dame, how important you guys are in the field hockey landscape. How big a win is this to get one over Villa?
It's such a big win. I know every year it's such a battle between us, and we haven't beat them in numerous years, and I'm really proud that this year, especially for my senior season, that we were able to pull out the W.
Well, congratulations on the win today. We love the pink socks for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We're going to go ahead and pass it off on down here to your teammate.
Thank you.
So as we continue on the post-game show, and we were talking with Lauren about how amazing this game was for you guys, and of course, kind of a tale of 2 games in a way, down 2-0, and then all of a sudden 4 unanswered goals.
Yeah, so our motto this year is do whatever it takes. So even though that we were down by 2, I think we came together as a team, and instead of letting it get to us, I think we used teamwork and just possessed the ball, and were able to come up and beat them.
Villa had seemingly run of play late into the second half. You had to kind of pull things together defensively in the backfield. They were able to get through 1 goal, but you were able to stop that second run and close out the game. How big is that from a motivation standpoint defensively going forward?
Well, I think it's amazing that we were able to stop them. You know, we were able to keep it 4-3. I think our biggest goal towards the end of the 5 minutes was just to keep them out of the circle and avoid any corners. Even though we did give up a corner, I think that we were able to execute it well and get the ball out as fast as we could.
We talked about the rivalry between Notre Dame and Villa, how many times these 2 teams have played each other. You got the win today. Now you got bragging rights for the rest of the season.
Yeah, we're super excited about that. We haven't beat this team in so long, and it was just great to go out there and prove them that this season Notre Dame's someone to be reckoned with.
Well, good luck for the rest of your season. We know it's changed weather here and gotten colder, but hopefully you guys can keep the heat up and keep this going throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, thank
Thanks
you
for
so
joining
much.
us today. That's all for the Payroll Services Postgame Solutions Show. We will see you next week for week number 8 of the Philadelphia Field Hockey Game of the Week. And always remember, if you need a payroll and benefits services company, please contact Payroll Services Solutions. They'll take care of you and continue to support the community and high school sports. Reach out to them at 866-PAY-EASY. For Matt Gillis, Kathleen Simone, and everybody at Sports Fan Base Network, we'll see you next week.